Hey everyone, this is Gavin Stevens. If you're listening to this, you're listening to the Uncolonized Podcast. This week, B Black and I review a movie on Netflix, a documentary called Ghosts of Sugarland. It's a 2019 documentary. It's very short, 60 minutes. Basically, it's about a group of suburban Muslims attempt to reconcile the disappearance of a close friend and must learn to live with the consequences of his actions. It's directed by Basim Tariq and writers Thomas Niles and Basim Tariq. And it's Netflix. It's 2019. And we, like I said, we reviewed it. So this is part one of the review. Part two is on our Patreon. You can subscribe to Patreon, our Patreon at patreon.com/the uncolonized. It's $5 a month. You get the all our other episodes. You get 8 episodes a month. Usually we do them in 2-parters. Sometimes we do a whole different episode as the second part, like we'll probably do this upcoming week. But this is the first part of that conversation about the movie Ghosts of Sugarland. Enjoy. Welcome to Uncolonized Podcast. I'm Gavin Stevens. Each week I'm joined by my friend B Black to have a conversation about race, politics, pop culture, all from a Canadian perspective. It's a cathartic, no-holds-barred conversation between two friends. It's like being in the barbershop, but we can't cut hair. We're going to do a movie review this episode like we've done. People really liked our documentary, the last movie review. We did, what's her name? What's that chick's name? Chelsea Handler.
Chelsea Handler.
People really liked that one. They're like, we were right on. They thought we were spot on.
Respect, man. Respect.
Yeah. This week we're doing another Netflix documentary. I picked this one. I'm always surprising you, B, with the
you know what I mean?
with my picks. But this one was only like 16 minutes.
No, 21.
21, and it's called Ghosts of Sugarland. And basically, the plot is a group of suburban Muslims attempt to reconcile the disappearance of a close friend and must learn to live with the consequences of his actions.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah, that's the plot. But basically, it's a documentary about 5 guys. Was it 5 guys? 5 Muslim guys.
5 Muslim guys
who live in a small town in Texas or Ohio called Sugarland, and their friend slowly became radicalized. This black guy, the only black guy in town, slowly became radicalized, and then moved to Turkey, Syria, and joined ISIS.
And joined ISIS.
And these guys are like dealing with like how that affected them, and they wear like masks, like they wear like
that was weird,
wasn't it?
Throughout the whole interview, they're wearing like Spider-Man masks or some
Transformers masks. Yeah. It was. I found this movie was like, is this a comedy? Because there was like they redo photos, and like one was like where they're smacking a guy's ass, and it was like,
oh, right.
I'm like, is this supposed to be like a parody? But it wasn't. It wasn't a parody documentary. So like to get into it, the black guy is like basically he seems to be like ostracized from everybody. Like he's an outsider, and they seem confused by this. They're like, oh, but we brought him in, and he was one of us, and
he was one of us.
Yeah, and then eventually we told him, hey, you know what? You should start praying. You're already there. That was a weird thing for me. You might as well become a Muslim. You're already there.
that part wasn't weird for me, but I'll let you finish. We'll talk after.
I found that weird. Like it felt kind of indoctrinating, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then he turns out to be a better Muslim than them. Is that the right way to say that?
That's a more devout. Let's go with the word devout.
More devout, more orthodox, and And he starts saying how they're like the Muslims born in America are like they're basically soft. He's like they're
You guys are the Uncle Toms of Islam. It's like, whoa, take it easy,
Uncle
dog.
Toms of Islam, which rhymes. And he's like, yeah, you basically you guys you do all this shit. That's but you wear shorts. Like he was complaining about them wearing shorts.
That I didn't know you couldn't wear shorts.
I didn't know either. And then,
I know the beard part, but not the shorts part.
Yeah, you can apparently, and they show the guy's hairy legs. I'm like, hey, you know what? Yeah. I'm with the not wearing shorts if you got legs like that. Like, stop it. Hamilton can use that. They start wearing shorts like in the middle of the goddamn winter. We can have some Muslim don't wear shorts shit out here. And then eventually he goes off to college. He gets a job with. He goes off to college to do. I forget what he takes. But he can't get a job in that, and he starts driving trucks. And then he goes to white towns, and they start treating him like shit too. So then dude moves to like fucking become ISIS. It's a very natural progression.
I mean, it's kind of like Malcolm X gone wrong, kind of shit like that. Yeah. I know he should have went to Mecca, but instead, holy shit's the opposite. Yeah, instead he goes to Turkey.
Yeah, he goes to Turkey.
And but we got to admit, so I guess he identified or he sympathized with the Muslim cause in that country. Fuck you Westerners. That shit's gotta go. But there's a part where he mentions where it bothered him to see Muslims dying overseas.
Yeah,
some shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he felt, which is weird because he didn't. I get the feeling he didn't identify with blackness, because he didn't talk about blackness. He just talked about like Muslims dying overseas, which I completely understand. But like, at no point did he talk about like, well, dude, you're an underclass in your own country. Like, along with Muslims, you're an underclass in this country. Yeah. Your people are being treated like shit. Like, I don't know. I kind of like, I can see where someone would be radicalized, right? And take off. And like, if you see people who are like, you're hanging out with a group of people whose religion are being persecuted around the world, and you see that, and then, but you also in your town aren't really part of them or part of white people, you're kind of ostracized. You're like, oh, something's fucking wrong with America because I am not supposed to be here.
Right.
And then, I could see where a young man would be radicalized.
So you use the word radical. Okay, there's radicalized. That documentary had me thinking about how when I was younger, and I remember my friends, we were big on the whole Black Power stuff. And the Nation of Islam was talking about. By the way, I would love to hear that dude's opinion about the Nation of Islam.
Okay,
I'm surprised they didn't put that in there. But anyway, that's a different story.
What do you think he would say about the Nation?
Oh man, let me put it this way: I heard a Muslim guy tell me that how they're so, what's the word? Not irrelevant, but so they don't. Let me put it this way: a gay Muslim group would have a better chance than the Nation of Islam, according to this Muslim dude.
Shit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he goes, yeah, they're irrelevant because to him it bothered him the whole black supremacy concept. But anyway, that's another story. All I know is that there's some infighting between Nation of Islam and other Muslims.
It wouldn't be a black movement without it.
There wouldn't be a black movement.
It wouldn't be. I don't know much about the Nation of Islam. I just know, get your hand out my pocket. That's
get your hand out my pocket. and we're threading lightly,
Yeah.
Peace to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Yeah, we're not saying any. Yeah,
yeah,
not talking any shit.
Can I say I love him? Is that the best way to deal with it?
I think you just put all praise. You know what? Okay, we're already in trouble.
All praise is due to Allah. I am sorry. I can't apologize enough if you're listening to this podcast.
So what was I saying is that all of us, we were looking for some kind of structure, some kind of, it's as if we wanted someone to tell us who we should be, what we should be.
Well, at that age when you're like, you're picking up literature, you don't really have a political view, you don't really have a worldview, and you pick up literature, and basically everything you read becomes your opinion, right? Like, and you're angry. Yeah. I remember reading Malcolm X, and like the first half, I was angry as fuck. And then I read the last half, and I was like, oh, you know what? We should all live together. And then, it became the, what was it? Racism's dead kind of mentality. You know what I mean? Like,
I think, yes, I agree. I think I was in denial of that phase for a bit. You know what I mean? What the fuck? Malcolm went soft and shit like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I forgot that I was Canadian. I was from Canada and talking all that pro-black shit.
Yeah.
I was surrounded by people who say, yo, bro, I dare you to go to Africa. You'll be coming back.
But let's look at Martin Luther King, right? Like when I was younger, it was Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, like he's soft and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And now, not that Malcolm X is soft, but when you look at Martin Luther King, you're like, oh, fuck, he was like completely against the system.
Yep. They
took his words and butchered the fuck out of it. Yeah.
They butchered the fuck out of it. Yeah, exactly. Wait. I would say that we identify with the young man going all the way to. I guess when you're that young, you're willing to do stupid shit like I want to give my life to a cause. And yeah, we were all looking for a cause. My friend, he joined the Nation. Another dude, he joined the American Navy because he was an American himself. Jeez. And I don't know. I ended up working for the government. You know, I don't compare it to those two.
Well, two of you ended up working for the government. Let's be fair.
Both
of you ended up working. Well, the kid in this, the guy in the documentary, his parents were in the military or in the government, and throughout the documentary, the guys were always like saying, "Oh, we think he's a spy. We think he's part of FBI. I think he was spying on us." And I'm like, dude, calm the fuck down. Like maybe, but let's be honest.
Yeah, come on, man.
He made some decisions without, I think they couldn't see themselves not connected to him. I think this is a dude that, because they were saying stuff like, in the beginning of the documentary, they're like, oh, he told us to do stuff, and we knew it was weird, but they never touched on it again. They made it sound like he was giving them orders, and it was but the orders were so weird, like he was giving them marching orders, but they only said it once, and they never touched on it again. I feel like this is a group, and they also, we didn't really know him. They said that a lot. I feel like that's the case. I feel in this documentary, it's a group of people who thought they had a relationship with someone who didn't have the same relationship back.
Yes. Yeah. Ever have a relationship like that?
Yeah.
You call them friends and everything like that, but the reality is you fuckers do not really know me.
Yeah, but and most of the time it's generally on either side. The one person didn't take the time to get to know the other person.
Yeah.
And they just projected their idea of that person onto them, and
Yeah. Sometimes I think maybe, you know what, for all I know, those guys were, and feel free to argue with us on our email. Anyway, those guys probably were just happy to have a black guy on their team.
Yeah.
Being able to say, hey, we're down.
They talked about him, not about his family or anything. They just talked to him like he was a puppy dog that followed them around.
That's exactly.
But they didn't talk about his life. They didn't talk about his family. They didn't talk about anything outside of who they were in comparison to him. Who they are.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have to wear these masks not because of us, but because of his actions. It's like, well,
he did.
He didn't, because the way they made it sound is like he went to college and they didn't see him again because they're like, I would see him and he'd have a giant beard. It was like, where did this come from? It takes a while to grow a beard, so you didn't see him for a while.
For a while, you well said.
You're connecting yourself to something, which again, I don't know if this is like the last documentary we talked about with, this might be a group of people who are looking for their, how do I sell myself off of this guy's story? Because this guy.
Wow. Yes.
Because he came back to America. And then he got arrested. So he got arrested for treason, was it? I think. Yeah, he's a federal.
All the above.
Treason, something like
joining our enemy.
Yeah, joining the enemy, and So
they have bigger words for it. Yeah,
I got a feeling they're connecting themselves to this story as a way of fame, because I'm like, if he went away and you didn't see him with a beard, and now he came back with a beard, it's like, and also you don't talk about his family. The only thing they said about his family was that his parents were in the military and they must have got him a job when he couldn't get a job. They don't know anything. They're just connecting dots in their head.
They're just connecting dots. Yo, what I love about this conversation and compared to this document, because this is probably why my mind went elsewhere while these guys were talking. But what we're admitting is we connect with that black dude being with a bunch of friends that we're friends, but we're not really friends.
Yeah, you don't know his life.
You don't know. They didn't know, and I'm sure if these guys heard this podcast, I doubt they will. But if they heard this podcast, they would take offense to everything we're saying. Well, we were best buds. Yeah,
no,
whatever.
You weren't. I also like because there's so many clues. When he's telling them how to be Muslims, it's like that's a guy that didn't like you.
There we go.
That's a guy that's like thinks you're fucking soft and a piece of shit.
Yep.
And I'm not saying his actions are correct, but I understand the feelings behind the actions.
That's what. Yeah. Agreed.
I get where like, well, you're in a small white town and then you go work jobs and you're like, oh, this whole thing's a piece of shit. And it's like, yes, son. The difference is that you need to tuck it inside you in a ball, get a regular job, and then when you retire, you bitch about it or you die early. That's how it works.
Yep. Yeah.
That's how all of us do it. We
like a bad marriage. Yeah,
we just die early, and and he's not doing that. He joined ISIS.
Do you remember his name?
Marcus.
They rarely. I had to look it up. They only say it at the end.
They say that they reveal it at the end. They go because they don't talk about it. They like kind of hide it, and then it's like, oh, he's the guy like you're supposed to. My guess is you're supposed to know who he is based on the trial.
Okay, yeah.
So I really felt it's a documentary of guys that were like hung out with a dude for a bit in high school, never saw him again, and was like, this guy really affected my life. They were like Facebook friends.
They were like, exactly.
That's the vibe I get.
That's the vibe we get. I need to find his name because I looked him up afterwards when the thing was. He changed his name.
Yeah. Oh, did he?
Oh no. Okay, no. Baris Tariq is a Ted Follow and was named filmmaker. Okay, he's the guy who.
He's the guy that directed it.
He directed this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm looking for because I looked him up. I Googled him, and there's an ABC interview about after he's back from ISIS. Like, so he's still alive. Oh, so he survived.
Oh, so he was famous as fuck for this shit.
Oh, apparently, yeah, man. I saw the whole interview. But here's
this whole thing got
garbage. Me is, you know how they caught him?
How?
The fucking Kurds, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean the fucking, but I mean the Kurds. The same Kurds that America turned their back on.
Yeah, I know.
They're the one who captured the dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And brought him and brought him safely. Like I didn't realize how close it was with the Kurds. The reason why this shit is breaking my heart is that the timing again. Bravo, Gavin, with your timing.
Yeah.
And in picking out these movies.
Oh, it was an accident. I just saw. I'm like, ooh, this seems like about a black person in a small town joins ISIS. That sounds
okay.
Cool.
Okay, you're going to make me get spiritual on you now and stuff like that. There is no such thing as coincidence.
It's Jesus' divine hand.
I'm going a little off topic here, but I was just hearing a on the New York Times podcast. There's a story about this Australian father who's trying to get his daughter home from Syria.
Did she join ISIS or something, or like went over there?
The poor girl. Like, again, when you hear her story, right, it sounds like she joined. You know what I mean? Fuck, death to America. No, the poor woman. Her crime was wanting to be a good wife with a big family. So she marries this dude who's a devout Muslim. And for her, a man who loves God. Like, I can relate to that shit. He loves his God and he's going to love his family. Next thing you know, she's tricked into going into Syria. Jeez. And this story is so sad. Dude, they're pretty much using her to breed soldiers.
Oh, fuck.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? That's
what did the husband do? He just like,
no, he's dead. He died. He died. You know what I mean?
So she went over. He died in action.
Yeah, she went with him.
She's a white woman. She's a white woman.
No. This is actually.
She's not a black woman. She's not a black woman.
Oh, not a black woman.
No, she's not a black woman.
You know what I mean? Well, but black women are ride or die and shit like that. But this is a fucked up.
You think
story,
they're going over to ISIS?
No. Hell no.
There's no black woman going. You're like, hey, we're moving as a family. Pack up the U-Haul. We're moving to ISIS. She'd be like, you're moving on your own. There's not a black woman on this planet that would be moving to ISIS.
I do know black women who joined their boyfriend, significant other when they joined the nation. You know what I mean?
Nation of Islam, not ISIS. Yeah. Well, nation's different than ISIS.
For sure.
ISIS, I figure like as soon as you show up, they give you a rocket launcher.
You know what I mean?
Unless she's some militant shit, I don't. You got to be really like she has to really hate America.
Well, you see, okay. For Americans now, and at the risk of looking like I'm sympathizing with terrorists and stuff like that, to us it's like hatred, but to them it's I'm a devout Muslim.
Yeah.
And this person, the imam or whoever's in charge, who I believe is connected to God / Allah, okay, wants us to fight these American devils and shit like that. Like, dude, when you start believing that shit, you know what I mean? And they tell you that's what God wants you to do, and that's what you do, man.
Well, I mean, like, on one hand, like, there's imperialism in those countries, but yeah, you're right. It's like, religion's a fuck. Sorry, I know you're coming from a religious.
No, go ahead. No, trust me.
It's a big con. It's so shitty.
It's a con.
It's just so.
Yeah.
It's just. I hate religion. It's just boring and shitty and.
The part about the Bible I was able to read felt like, some con artist said, let me make conning people easier.
Yeah.
Take this Bible and share it with these losers.
Yeah. Like I go to church maybe every 3 years. I'll be in a church and I'm fascinated by it. But I sit there and I listen to the priest and I'm like, you just made some shit up.
You just made some shit up.
You're saying from the Bible, and it's basically. I remember watching. Okay, this is what it. I remember watching BET's Church Hour on Sunday.
Yeah,
the whole Sunday, and I remember I'm like, this guy's basically telling people to brush their teeth. Like this is some basic level shit. Like
some old bullshit,
right? But that's what all church, like even the white all. This is not me pointing at, but all churches like this is some basic level shit.
Yep.
You don't need church to know this shit. That's what makes me laugh about Jordan Peterson, because he has these debates where he's like, well, you can only, all morality comes from God, comes from religion. And it's like, no, it doesn't, dummy.
Nope. Yeah.
Like we can be moral people and not believe in God. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Not believing. I can have another conversation about like spirituality, but it's like it's kind of like you want someone to tell you what to do, where to go, who should I be, and all that.
Well, yeah,
all that.
like that's what this guy is. But, like, sorry to get back to the movie, but that's what he was doing. Is like he's following religion because there's got to be an answer to this shit, and he doesn't understand that there is no answer.
That dude was looking for a cause, and Islam gave it.
Well, he just needs to put his rage into something.
There we go.
And you're 20-something years old. I completely 100% understand that rage. I get the incels. Yeah. I get where they're like, they got that rage. It's just like, yeah, but you don't understand. You're being conned like everyone else.
Yeah.
But on top of it, black guy, you're black. On top of the con that everyone else is getting, you're also black. And you live in a small town. I don't know why your parents moved you there. I mean, fuck. Even with the brown guys, because here's the thing: is that the brown guys and those guys, those dude bros. Those are 100% dude bros.
Dude bros for sure,
for sure.
Right, yeah. Like they sit in Perv Row in the strip club, most deaf.
Exactly, in shorts. Because they had the dudes had one had a Super Mario mask, another one had what's that guy to Infinity and Beyond? What's that dude's name from Toy Story?
Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Another one had a Super Mario. Another one had Star Wars mask. And I'm like, I know these motherfuckers bought these masks. They picked them out. Yeah, I know that they put the mask on the table and motherfuckers like, I'm gonna be Optimus Prime. They're those guys. just based on listening to them talk in that documentary, I'm like, I know those guys. I'm gonna be Optimus Prime. And there was a fight for the Super Mario or something.
That's hilarious. You see that? No, I see during the club say, hey, I'm part of a documentary. You probably charge.
Yeah, I see that too. I see they're friends with the dude that's the director, and they're like, oh,
if they're not married,
this shit landed in our laps. This dude's getting arrested. We need to.
Hey, you know what? I know we're comics, right? Let me just put out that, fellas, I understand your pain. As Muslims, I'm sure you're going for a lot of bullshit. People think that the crime of that black dude is your crime too. We get that, but everything we're talking about is the but part. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Well, I mean, also it's he kind of had a point too. Where it's like, yeah, your brothers are dying all over the world, but also you're comfortable here, and I also get that too. Like they were because the town was predominantly like Asian, like brown, East and South Asian, right? And so it was a lot of brown people. So it wasn't like they lived in a town that was like they were ostracized, where they would be radicalized growing up.
Right.
The black guy was the only black guy, and the only other people he could hang out with was Muslim dudes. And then they made him Muslim, and then he read into the religion and saw what he wanted to see in it, and was just like, oh my god, maybe he identified with it. Maybe, I don't know.
Hey, yo, let me take a twist on you. So earlier you used the word radicalized, right? But what's that word when like I think of the relative of mine who's a Trump supporter. Mm-hmm. That's radicalized to me. That's like, I don't know what's
that is
synonym
radicalized
for that word, but it's like it's as like for him. I can see the need to be. I need to feel like I'm righteous. I'm the one who's on the right path, and I got to help recruit the rest of you dumb motherfuckers.
Well, there's that. There's recruiting, and then there's like, I'm willing to take up arms against you.
Yeah.
That's what radicalized is.
So Trump support is probably as close as you can get to not taking up arms against people.
A lot of them are taking up arms. Like,
yeah, sorry.
A lot of them are doing that. They're ready to go whenever you want.
Yep, they're shooting up mosques, churches, or whatever.
You think if they impeach this dude, you don't think some of them are going to hear some shit?
Oh man, yeah, it's about to go down. Yes.
By the way, I saw that video you sent me with the guy getting kicked out of T.I.'s.
Oh, YG.
No, YG's concert. I'm saying T.I. because the two have become the same political level for me.
Gotcha.
T.I. annoyed the fuck out of me with that Candace Owens clip, and then this one annoyed me. Like,
YG. Oh, really? When he kicked out the white dude for not saying fuck Donald Trump?
I'm not trying to defend Donald Trump or anything, but like, what if this was like a few years ago, and it was like a country concert, and someone brought up a black person and said, "You better say fuck Black Lives Matter." And I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to be like, I feel sorry for him. I'm just saying, like, we can't play this fucking game. We can't.
That's a bad taste. Yeah,
right, we can't play that kind of game because it just negates everything else that we're fighting for. Like all the other garbage, all the real things that we were fighting for is like you take his money.
Yeah,
take his money. That's the best. The kicking him out of the concert just means you're not going to get more money from his racist family.
Bro, I didn't think about that. Yo, when he first came out with that track, fuck Donald Trump, I thought it was corny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, vote. Nigga, fuck riding around, vote.
What year is it? Like, fuck Donald Trump.
You think Donald Trump gives a fuck about, he's counting his money.
YG used to be hard. I don't understand the fuck Donald. Like, at least.
I know!
Fuck Donald Trump. Like, say some fucking shit that's like, oh, this is what's going on. Like, some real politics if you're going to do some real politics.
Yeah. No, he's riding the wave. Everyone hates Trump. Well, I'm going to ride that wave. Yeah. I'm betting on that shit.
Yeah, there's some like I'm like I have to sift through black celebrity wokeness now. Like the stuff with LeBron James. I had no idea. He just said I don't know what's going on. He just said I don't know what's going on, and everyone lost their mind with him. Right? That's what happened, right?
Okay. That's the word. Yeah. I've been meaning to look up into that, but they quoted him as they made it sound like he was saying, "Hey, do your thing, China. We're minding our own business."
I from what I understand is basically he doesn't know what's going on, which I'm not. Which is kind of it's kind of the level I expect from celebrities, but I could be wrong on that too. I should look it up, but that's from what I've seen. That's what he said, but. I know people got mad at that shit, and some people are just like also defending him. But
yeah,
celebrities like that whole thing with T.I. and Candace Owens. I think that was my tipping point with that kind of shit. Where I just like at first I was like, yeah, fucking right, and then I was like, oh, this is corny. This is so goddamn. I don't give a fuck. And it's just like, oh. Like why is she even at this fucking summit? Why don't we have black intellectuals talking on these stages? Like why don't we have?
What do we have? People we can learn from.
Fuck yeah.
Motherfucker want to be entertained.
Yeah,
man.
like people like if you're gonna bring in some why are we having rappers and shit? Why can't we have like some people who do this for a living? talk about reparations and talk about like this kind of stuff. I don't get it.
That reminds me, I've been meaning to suggest that we should have entertainers on our show.
We're entertainers.
Real entertainers. And all we do is I was gonna say suck their dick. No, I mean all we do is gas them, but whatever they say we agree with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All lives matter. Fuck.
Oh fuck. Okay, so there's have you heard about this? I think maybe we should do it on another podcast. But there's this white guy that's like, did you hear about this? Let's do it in another episode. I'm sorry, everyone, but we'll do this in another.
You can do a preview.
Well, there's this white guy who's been like, he's I don't know if he's charged, but he had HIV and he was having sex with underage girls and black women, and his goal was to spread HIV to the black community to kill people. But here's the kicker.
Wow.
He's one of those. What's that guy that's like, you know, those white guys that black people love because they know how to
allies.
Pardon?
Oh wait. He loves black culture type thing. One of those people.
He's one of those. So he's welcome into shit.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that someone said, "Hey, you're invited to the cookout."
Yeah, you're invited. He's one of these like, he says all the right shit. He knows the right clothes. He dances the right dances. We need to do an episode of this.
That's got to be a show.
We need to do an episode of these guys. The Gary Owens.
All right, make him curious. Yes.
We need to do an episode about these guys. Because because I've heard a story about Malcolm X and a white dude, too, who was like, he was like down. Everyone loved him. And then he would tell, like, he told Malcolm X's, one of Malcolm X's girls who was white when he was a pimp that, why are you hanging out with these niggers? Don't be hanging out with these niggers. I don't like that shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. we got to do an episode of those.
Well, for sure. Most def. All right. Tune in.
Because sometimes we bring those weed. Black people love when there's a white person that does like what we do, and we just like.
Yes.
We just,
We had a conversation about that, eh?
Yeah, at the show.
At the show, yeah. But then I asked, do you think white people do the same?
No.
What black people do?
It's a negative.
White people should,
it's a negative. If you're black and you're trying to be white, that's a negative.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I thought I was going to make a bit out of it. Yeah. It's like, hey, look, got a black guy in a suit. Hey. And he's on time to work. Hey.
Black people wear suits, though, B. Like.
I know. But for court and shit like that.
Okay, sorry.
Then I was racist. Oh, that was terrible. Oh, my God. If you're laughing and you're white, you're racist.
Yeah, you're pretty. That just confirmed it. So, going back to the documentary, we kind of, we'll do that another episode for sure. But going back to the documentary, I don't know if I said this, but I got the Killmonger vibes off this guy. And I'm like,
yes.
And the whole time when I watched Black Panther, I was like, is Killmonger supposed to be the bad guy in this? Because he makes some good points.
I found myself taking I was agreeing with Killmonger and taking a step back, realizing that, you know what? After slavery, we never took the time to realize who we wanted to be. Yeah. Because a lot of who we are is in response to what's happened to us. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
that's a great point.
Exactly. So we never, what's the aim? And
I think that's how race works, right? Because white people don't know who they are either.
Nope.
They've defined themselves in opposition to us, and blackness is defined based on oppression, right? So, yeah, you're right. And it's a group of people who have no real definition as a group.
Wow.
But other than our
message,
other than our oppression and the oppressor. That's a good point, man.
Yo, I'm trying to remember before we leave the name of this. Come on, it's making it hard for me to find it. It's called The Ghost of Sugarland. Yeah, because it's a name worth Googling afterwards because there's a lot of interviews. But yeah, like you said, he's a popular guy. He became popular, and I'm surprised they let him back in the country.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was. I at the end when they revealed the name, I was like, oh, this is a story I should know. Like, based on how they're revealing it. And then for me, the documentary was painted a bit. Like, it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
There we go.
You're trying to make money off this whole thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Most definitely. The name of the dude is, so in the documentary, they refer to him as Mark. Yeah. But his real name is Warren Christopher Clark.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Yo, kind of funny story. I'm putting out the okay. I was trying to explain to a white colleague of mine about how the reason this was before Blackface Trudeau, right? The reason some of us or my part of Canada appreciates Trudeau is because when he did that, a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. It felt good to be reminded that someone in the government believes that we should be part of this society. You know what I mean? I just little shit like that. I was trying to get him to understand, but of course, he's white. He just only able to understand what he's able to understand.
So I missed it.
So he starts.
So what happened?
No, so I was trying to explain to him the appeal because he didn't get it. Why you people? He didn't say those words, but why you people keep voting for Trudeau? You know what I mean? And I was trying to say how for me. It meant a lot when he said a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. Well, one big happy family, right? It's nice to have the locals treat you like we're part of the family.
Well,
and then
sorry, go ahead.
Well, and then this motherfucker jumps up. Well, if he was on that a Canadian is a Canadian, how come he didn't let I don't know some person who apparently left Canada to join ISIS, and apparently Trudeau decided to not let him back in the country. Well, he took that as a well, where's the loyalty to Canadians there? So, I'm like, you're gonna compare my plight as a Canadian to this motherfucker who left the country
to ISIS?
Fuck you, asshole. Anyway, he didn't understand
was it a white guy that joined ISIS? It was.
I'm assuming. Well, if he's not letting him back in the country, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I know there's a white guy from Ottawa who joined ISIS. I'm trying to figure out what happened.
If it's a white guy, then I can see him making that point because it's like, if it was a brown guy, he's not Canadian to the white guy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, he's not Canadian, so he's not from here, so okay. No, I get it. I get why. I don't. This is the ignorance of white people. It's like, do you understand that like most times that black people or people of color voting, and maybe I'm generalizing, but it's a survival vote. It's like our population is small.
Yes.
Our demographics are small. And we're like, fucking, most of these people are voting liberal. And they're voting liberal because save themselves from the conservative vote. Although there's a lot of brown people apparently who are voting far right. And I didn't know that.
A lot of brown people
voting far right. I had no idea.
Yeah. I didn't know that too. I mean, I figured they had money or some shit like that. Yeah. And they figured out how the system. I know. Yeah, rich people for sure. But I found out one of my relatives who will not be identified on this podcast voted conservative because what happened? Some dude he goes to church with talked him into it. You know what I mean? It's not valid. Like in his mind goes, he's not going to win in my riding, whatever, right? But he still voted for him because.
Why?
Because, hey, Jesus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, once you throw in Jesus, it's like, fuck, damn.
Jesus.
That's
all it takes?
You can't vote against Jesus. Man.
Vote against Jesus. There's got to be someone stronger than Jesus. that would change their mind. Like that. I guess people like Jesus.
Hey, bro, I don't know if I told you, right? If this comedy thing doesn't work out, I'm going into the church business. You know what I mean?
I thought you were welcome to join me. Become Jesus.
No, you don't have to be. No, that's too much work. No. And I haven't told your friend there, our friend there, was it Jason Allen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every once in a while, I'm going to get him to show up to church, pretend he's Jesus.
Pretend he's Jesus. It's like, look at the miracles you perform.
You know what I mean? All right, now put some money in that collection plate.
If I had, I've said this over and over on the podcast, but if I'm going religious, I'm doing voodoo. I don't care.
You going voodoo?
I'm going
Ain't
voodoo.
No money in voodoo. No offense, I'm just saying. Well, there's no money in voodoo. Bro.
There's no money in voodoo, but voodoo is like it is a religion that is like encourages revenge, and I like that. Like personal revenge. Any religion that encourages personal revenge, that's the religion for me.
I can see you're going to be a problem.
Fuck yeah, man. You know how many people are going to be pissing blood if I join voodoo? Don't cut me off in traffic. You're going to be pissing blood. All I got to get is a piece of your hair. That's it.
Could you be bought? Is that because if I start seeing some of my what do you call that? The numbers of attendance at my church, my congregation go down because of your voodoo practices.
My voodoo practice.
I'll be like, okay, look.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, look. Dude. I'm gonna cut you in on some of this change, bro.
It'd be my voodoo podcast. I'd have a podcast about voodoo, and then all your attendees will start listening to my voodoo podcast.
Like, yeah, man. Cut that shit out, man.
Sorry.
Fuck, I got a mansion to pay for.
Well, they always make voodoo seem evil, and I don't think it's evil. I really don't. I think it's
man.
I think religion's more evil than voodoo. I mean, Christianity's more evil than voodoo.
And yet, there's a lot of Haitians who will tell you that the opposite because they've been brainwashed into believing that voodoo is the devil. And
who's telling us it is?
That's where a Christian pastor.
It's white people telling us it's evil. Why am I going to trust white people to tell me it's evil?
Because Jesus is white.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? You can't doubt that shit.
And they're lying about that shit too. God damn! I didn't think we'd get into this.
You know what I mean? How do we? Well, we are talking about religion, which is what brought it.
Yeah,
to,
we were talking about Ghost of Sugarland and the religion. But whatever. I get why a dude would do it, but I'm like, I don't know if I'd join ISIS or. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Cause to die for? I mean, a cause. Okay, I don't want to think about that kind of stuff, and I don't want to get on any list.
Well, we're too old for causes at this point.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I got a mortgage.
Beliefs? No. I got to go to IKEA next week. That's my belief.
Exactly, man. I gotta. Honda wants their money. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got bills to pay. Like we've both been trapped into the system so much,
bro. Oh man, okay. Quick story. I gotta, shout out to my pops, man. I mean, even regardless of our disagreements, whatever, right? Yeah. But fuck. That man was wise. When I was in my younger days, teenage days, when I believed that I knew everything about the world, you couldn't tell me shit. And I was on that pro-black movement, right? Probably just finished reading Malcolm X, or the movie, one of the two. Anyways, and my dad, he used to love engaging my friends and I into conversations, right, about pro-blackness and everything like that. So that's probably what kept me sane because I had someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Anyways, one day, I don't know what the fuck my problem is, and I hate myself for what I did, but we're arguing, and I ended up telling my dad, yo, Pops, man, you're an Uncle Tom.
Yeah, I knew it was that.
You know what I mean? Here's the kicker. Here's how he got me, man. He calmly responded to, see, son, just see. You and all your friends will all end up in the government.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah, he was so right.
I'm a fucking sellout.
He knows who you are. He knows who you are. You came out of his balls. He knows exactly who you are. You can talk all your shit, but I know who you are at the core.
Yep. He predicted it.
I know who you are. You're no Freddie Hampton. No offense, be black. He knows that. Yeah, my dad. That's the thing. Is like, that's the thing. Is like, so you had someone to have a conversation with, and then you also had someone who's like old enough to sit there and go, you know what, dude, this is all well and good, and what you're saying is probably does have a lot of truth in it, but here's reality.
Here's reality. Yeah,
I don't think this other kid probably had any of that shit. Whereas like, here's what's really gonna happen.
Yeah, man, and he had no one to talk to, so that shit was just boiling up inside of him.
Yeah. And then he was a trucker. He was a trucker for a company because he couldn't get a job. You can't get a job out of school. You're promised a job. The Muslims disappoint you because they don't live up to what you feel as a Muslim. You go on. So brown people around you, like you're supposed to feel welcome with brown people. That doesn't happen. Yeah. You go drive a truck, and then white people treat you like shit. And they're coming, and you're like, you know what? It's all rotten to the core. They did mention the part that he didn't even feel comfortable around black people in the sense that black people were also treating him like, hey, man, you ain't black. You ain't black.
He didn't feel black. He was trying to be black. He couldn't be black. He couldn't be brown. He couldn't be Muslim. He couldn't. Yeah, man.
Think about the cognitive dissonance that guy lived through. As a kid in that time where you don't have a like when you're too young to be like, oh, this is who I am, and I don't give a fuck what you people think of me. You're like. Yeah, because they were saying like he tried to be like what I'm trying
an imam?
No, not an imam.
Like
emo. He was trying to be emo. He kept drawing on different costumes, just trying to figure out who he was. They're like he would do a whole bunch of stuff and see what would stick, and nothing did. So he had no fucking clue who he was. And then the Muslim thing came, and he was like, "Oh, this is an identity I can keep."
Yeah.
Is that your house or my house?
I think that was you.
Yeah, it's Hamilton. It's got to be me. It's the police sirens if you can't hear it. Yeah, so I was I like I said, I completely get it. I thought the documentary was shit. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
It felt like people like using people to like become famous, like, but without using their face. But like it felt like someone's like school project.
So,
Yeah, well, 60 minutes.
How are you? I don't feel comfortable because of the content. I don't feel comfortable giving it any middle fingers, only because it's not like I don't have the same. It wasn't. It's apples and oranges to The Blind Side. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Green Book.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah,
but it's kind of similar to Blind Side. It's using black tragedy to make money. So it's kind of the same thing.
you kind of have me wishing these guys were on the podcast.
Dude, that shit, black tragedy to make money is one of the things that I have been watching and just like, what the I see it all the time now.
Yep.
Just like people making money off black tragedy. And every time I see it, I'm just like, I can't watch this thing. I don't want to watch this thing. I don't want to listen to this thing. I'm tired of it.
It's interesting now, I'm sure some Haitians, especially Wyclef, will disagree with what I'm about to say, but he did this documentary called, I think it was a documentary called The Ghost of Cité Soleil. And Cité Soleil is, I guess, where he grew up, or was it Croix des Bouquets? I forget. But anyway, there's a part where he does a camera shot of where he's from, bro, and they show you extreme poverty.
Yeah.
So much that I found myself going, yo, are you doing this to get some help? Or are you doing this to show people that, hey, this is where I'm from? You know what I mean? This is how the baddest that I am. I survived these outcomes. And shit like, it bothered me seeing that scene. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they intended to show, but yeah.
Was it poverty porn, did you find?
Poverty, yeah. I never thought to put those two words together, but yes, poverty porn,
like slum porn, like the
bro.
But also, like he's a guy that ripped off Haiti.
I'm sure he'll take offense to that statement, but yeah, I read that New York Times, or was it Washington Post? One of those guys. I read that whole document because I figured that maybe what happened is, he hired his cousin as an accountant, and his accountant just did a bad job moving the money around. You know what I mean?
It's only the Haiti money that gets fucked up. Hey everyone, we're going to continue this conversation in part 2 on Patreon at patreon.com/theuncolonized. $5 a month. Get the rest of this conversation plus other conversations. It's 8 podcasts a month. Thanks again.